government, and it would
and
be
then she watched
quite
C-SPAN.
the understatement to say that Tom Paine is not
common sense.
a fan. I'd be happy to, lay out a little bit more.
Professor Richard Bell again from the University of Maryland.
Monarchy.
He's a wizard too.
Fundamentally,
we had this conversation before. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Many of us today, especially those of us with a British accent, may not always reflect upon. He sees what's
the synergy.
Unnatural.
Left for wine. Ain't got no wine. It just occurred to me. Oh my God.
Concentrate
I left
lots
for
of
wine.
power.
He got a wine. He said he was a wizard the last time.
Sit in Parliament directly, but have to sit outside of Parliament, therefore not knowing what the other hand of government is doing. Necessarily. The royal families are people who, in Paine's words, have come to those positions of power not by any great intellectual advantage or political acuity, but because either they were born into a dynastic line and by accident of birth they end up ruling millions of people, or because they are the upstart young man who's killed the previous dynasty of kings and said, I think I can do better, which is how every new dynasty, at least in the British royal family, is often started. So Paine points all these things out to American readers and labels them and frames them as absurdities. So problematizing the conventional wisdom, the status quo, and saying we don't have to accept the way the world is, we have it in our power to begin the world over again. Which of course then takes us into the current state of affairs between America and the British government, which by January of 1776, these two sides are in open armed hostilities. We've already had Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill.
Does that say that
so
the Constitution was actually ratified here in North Carolina?
Of this
Fayetteville. It was called Campbell's Creek.
Are we going to keep taking more abuse, more perceived tyranny?
No, not the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence.
Policies?
Yeah, the Declaration of that Declaration of here. Why do you think this is the home of Fort Bragg and Pope Air Force Base? A coincidence?
Well, we're going to break away and say enough is enough and seek independence as an alternative. And then in part 4, he makes the case that we can and that we will win.
Well, let's hear from some of our viewers.
But
let's
I'm not
begin
important,
with Dan in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Dan, good evening to you. You're on C-SPAN.
Jersey always
top
down.
Good evening. As a refugee coming to this country,
anyway,
I read this Thomas Paine pamphlet many times, and I have to say I don't see what's the big deal. I don't
Thomas
think
Paine.
it's
Common
a major
sense is clearly
item
not
of
common.
historical